Noblesse? More like no bless the people who made Awakening, am I right? Yeah, I watched the OVA after I watched episode 1. Thanks for that, Crunchyroll. But before we get into all that, I do gotta say, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to our possibly weekly Noblesse coverage, talking about episode 2, A Reason to Fight / Nobility. But before we get into that, quick reminder if you haven't done so yet, hit that dang subscribe button, will ya? And make sure to ring that bell to let all of AniTube know you are here. But without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and jump into this week's episode of Noblesse. Ah, Noblesse, oh you interesting series, you. I want to like this. I do. I really do. Because it's got Frankenstein in it. And if you guys know anything about me, you might know that I'm a big Universal monster fan. I love, like, the original, like, 1930s Frankenstein, the 1930s Dracula, all that stuff. That is, they're classics for a reason to me. Like, I love those. And I just like the stories. Like, I even like Van Helsing with Hugh Jackman. That movie's great. You know what I mean? Like, I just like seeing, like a classic sort of vampire type character and a Frankenstein type character. If we can get a Wolfman, that'd be ideal. I guess M-21 is kind of like a Wolfman. He got the claws. But yeah, it's an interesting take on certain tropes. And I do think there's a lot to Noblesse to like. I just wish it would start hitting. Like, the Awakening OVA is dope. It's so dope. The show itself has been sort of like like we're on episode 2 now and nothing's really like wowed me yet. And I do think that maybe episode 3 might have something, as per usual. Like, you got the rule of 3, right? You got to give it 3 episodes and then the 3-episode ruling, and we'll see, right? And as of right now, I'm probably gonna finish the show. Because, like, at this point, I'm like, well, I like it fine. I want to see where it goes. You know, I'm intrigued. I want to see what happens to M-21. I really like M-21. He's probably my favorite. Yu-chan, I like as well. I have heard that his name is different. Like, that his name's not Yu in the original, which is like, why change it? There's a lot of production stuff that I'm questioning, and we'll get into it as we go. But yeah, there's stuff to like. You know, I think the character designs are cool. As I said, I like M-21. I'm starting to like Frankenstein a lot. Rye is cute. Like, Rye and Frankenstein are like, they're fine. You know, like, I like them just fine. You and M-21 are great. And then everybody else is kind of like kind of just forgettable. Like, I feel bad. Like, Manabu, I literally forget that dude after every, like, the instant that, like, as soon as I finished watching episode 1, I totally forgot his name. After I watched the OVA, I was like, I still don't even remember his name. Like, I was like, damn. And this week I wrote it down. That's the only reason why I'm like, yes, Manabu. I remember you. Yeah, everybody else is just kind of there. And it's like, I don't, like, and y'all know, I'm not, like, hashtag JoJo doesn't read. That is the meme around here. I don't really read manga that often, if at all. I don't really like webtoons that much, so I'm sort of left as this anime only who wants to be hype for these, like, webtoon adaptations, because I've been hearing about these webtoons forever, especially God of High School. I heard about God of High School for ages, and Tower of God I knew was going to be hype, and I had been hearing about Noblesse for a little while now, so I was curious to see how these adaptations were gonna go, you know? And as of right now, where I stand in the day of my birth, yes, at the time of recording this, it is my birthday, although you guys will have seen this the day after. But on the day of my birth, 28 years later, I sit here staring at a microphone saying, well, Tower of God was friggin' amazing. Tower of God might be my anime of the year. I friggin' love Tower of God. God of High School, though! God of High School was kind of rough. And here I am with Noblesse hoping to God it's gonna at least end better than God of High School. And I'm starting to see a little bit of the comedy that people were saying, which is nice. I'm not a big comedy guy. For me, comedy's not like... I need comedy to be like the subgenre. I don't want it to be the main genre. I think the only time I've seen a show where comedy was the main focus that I enjoyed was like Konosuba. And I love Konosuba, but I like it better when comedy takes a back seat to, like, the action part of the series or the mystery part of the series or insert thing here. You know, I like it better when it works better as, like, a supplementary genre, not the main focus. That said, that is like the vibe that people were giving me with Noblesse, is that even though it is like a supernatural series, it has a good comedic tone to it. And I haven't really seen that through the OVA or episode 1. So thankfully, when M-21 and Regis sort of have this back and forth, I was like, oh, there it is. There's the comedy that fans were telling me about. Like, finally, the Noblesse fans are probably like, see, there it is. So I'm excited to see some of the comedy from the series, because I think my favorite types of comedy are where it's not just like jokes or slapstick. For me, my favorite types of comedy are comedy that would only make sense with those characters, where it's very like character-based humor. And seeing Frankenstein like freak out over having people in his house and it's a mess, it's like that makes sense for that character, so of course it's really funny, and I like that as well. M-21 and Regis having this back and forth because personality-wise they just disagree, so they're like, too bad, I'll kill you. Oh yeah, you'll kill me? Yeah, I'll kill you. Oh, okay, well you can try. I will try. Oh, we'll see about that. Oh, okay, we will. Like that little, like tiff, like that little tiff that they have is really cute and funny, and I liked it a lot. And I was genuinely surprised with elements to this episode. There's stuff that I didn't like, but for the most part, I feel like this is a improvement over episode 1, though still not quite hitting in the same way that the OVA did. The OVA was fire, by the way. Like, the OVA, I was like, where is this animation? Where is, like, this character stuff? Like, what happened? It's mostly the same team. Like, we'll save it. I want to talk about Regis and Sarah first. We're going to talk about Regis and Sarah, then we're going to talk about M-21 and Frankenstein, then we're going to talk about you, and then we can talk about the production stuff, because I do have thoughts on the production stuff. Now, Regis and Sarah, y'all know that I like digging into some character design stuff, so I thought it might be fun to sort of dig into their designs, see a little bit of what they're working with. And honestly, I really like their designs. They seem a bit bland on the surface, I'll admit. Like, when I first saw them, I'm like, that's it? That's like the two like nobles running around? That's who that is? Ugh. And I was a little like unsure about how I felt. But when I looked at their designs a little bit more, especially by the time we get to see them like in the school setting, the designs actually made a hell of a lot of sense. Like, the white hair is definitely meant to represent the purity, whereas the red eyes are meant to, like, be an obvious nod to the fact that they're noblesse, right? That they are nobles. So the white hair paired with the red eyes is telling you they are pure nobles. You know what I mean? Like, white meaning purity, the red in the eyes being a hint towards their characters being nobles, pure nobles. Nice. They are noblesse. Right? I dug that a lot, actually. I was like, that's actually really solid. Like, I didn't even think about it. The fact that the white hair pairs so well with the red eyes, it's actually kind of perfect for who the characters are. Just these pure-hearted nobles, like these pure-blooded nobles, rather. Although they are well-meaning as well, but, like, for the most part, they are these pure nobles, like pure-blooded nobles. And I think that it's a really strong way to show that. I will say it's interesting to me that Regis does have those black streaks, whereas Sarah doesn't have any of that. Like, Sarah just has pure white hair. Regis has these black streaks, so I feel like maybe Regis might have some human blood in there somewhere. Maybe that's what those black streaks are meant to represent. Like, maybe the fact that Regis might have a bit more of a different background to Sarah, perhaps. I doubt it, but it might be interesting if that's where they go, because then that'd be like a detail hidden in plain sight, which is really neat. I always love when stuff like that happens with character designs. And again, as I said, the character designs are like they've grown on me. At first I was like, yeah, they're pretty good, but they're not the greatest. But now I'm like, no, they're actually pretty solid. I actually really dug the character design, so I wouldn't put it past them if they were trying to hint at something with Regis's design. But I also kind of doubt it just by the way that Regis was behaving. He does seem like a pure noblesse. But for now, we'll have to wait and see. And the way that they carry themselves as well, there's this definite air of arrogance to them. And it's basically what I had expected from Rai at first. Like, the fact that they are nobles. Nobles typically come with a vibe of arrogance and superficiality. Like, a lot of nobles tend to think they're high and mighty and above everybody else, whereas with noblesse, they're, like, the way that they portray their nobles, it's more that they feel compelled to help those lesser than them. Like, they feel the need to help humans because they don't see them as a threat, and they just see them as people in need of help, so they want to help. They're almost like compelled to. And I like that a lot, mostly because when I saw them, the fact that they were all cocky and arrogant, I'm like, oh, are they going to be the antagonists? Oh, no. Like, I don't want them to be the antagonists. No offense, but so far, they're kind of boring. Thankfully, Regis gets less boring very quickly. Sarah kind of gets stuck in being bland and boring. I will say the biggest thing, one of the biggest issues I have with the show, name me a female character in the show who doesn't die or isn't like interested in one of the male characters and is head over heels for them. One. Name me one. In 3 episodes. Can you do it? You haven't done it yet? Yeah, that's not great. And I'm not like I'm not a feminist or none of that shit. I'm just like noticing that I'm like, y'all don't have any waifus in here? Not a single waifu. All these chicks are head over heels for either you or Rai, or they died in the OVA. Like that's it. And like all the other designs outside of Sarah are blandish crap. Like they got nothing going on. So like even Sarah is kind of bland. So I'm like, what is going on with the waifus? Like y'all know I love me some husbandos. I am bi-romantic, so y'all know that I love me some husbandos. But I need my waifus too. Like you can't just be husbandos. You gotta throw some waifus in there. And I got nothing, man. Like I got M-21 and I got Frankenstein. I got 2 husbandos. You is more of a best boy. But I love you a lot. He's like, I mean, I love you, the audience, but I also love you, the character. But yeah, so far I got M-21 and I got Frankenstein, and that's it. Like Rai is cool, I guess. Honestly, like, yeah, he's okay. Do people like Rai? I don't know. I'm not really terribly familiar with the Noblesse fandom. Although I will say, like, I do think that M-21 is forming a nice bit of a rivalry, like a fun dynamic with Regis. Regis I have hope for. Like, Regis I was like, oh, cool, like, you're a character. Sarah seems like a plank of wood, but, like, you're like a character. You actually have, like, interests and motivations, and you want to do things, and you have a personality. My God, imagine that. So Regis I have hope for, and I loved the dynamic with, as I said, with M-21. I thought it was really fun. But moving on to M-21 and Frankenstein, I do gotta say, they be giving me strong married couple vibes, like this whole episode. The drive in the car, catching M-21 up to speed on like the nobles of, the origins of the nobles and stuff like that. And then just the pair of them doing dishes together in the other room as like Frankenstein is trying to cope with the fact that there's a mess on his table, and like you basically saying like, yeah, you guys can stay here with the director, like you guys can stay here with Frankenstein, right? That's fine, right? And he's like, yeah, it's fine, everything's fine. Like, and you could see M-21 like, oh, my man's about to snap. And so when they're doing dishes, like, hey man, you want me to help? No, it's fine, I got this. And then when Frankenstein feels overwhelmed, M-21 is like doing the dishes for him. He's like, oh, thanks. He's like, yeah, of course, don't worry about it. I, like, you know, I'm a freeloader, and like you shouldn't be like going above and beyond for just little old me. And I'm like, oh, they're gonna bang after this. I got straight up like, oh, that's gonna happen. I might be ace, but I can see when people's is about to do the horizontal hustle, okay? I can see that shit coming from a mile away. I got ship radar, okay? Like, I ship this. Like, Frankenstein and M-21, hell to the yes. I see this. They are an old married couple. I am here for it. That's another thing about the episode that I really liked, was I was like, M-21 and Frankenstein have a really good M-21 is the best character in this show. Like, M-21 is without a doubt the best character in this show. And easily a husbando candidate, for sure. Like, him and Frankenstein, easy husbando candidates. I loved Frankenstein. He's, like, second best, but M-21... So, M-21, number 1. Frankenstein, number 2. You, number 3. Like, those are, like, the top 3 characters. Everybody else, like, is kind of there. Like, Rai is cool. He's neat. And then everybody else is, like, bleh. But yeah, like I really like those 2. And you know what? I was gonna talk about the Yu Shine. Like Yu-chan does get to throw down a little bit in what is like a decent fight, but you know what? Like it does lead me nicely into just talking about the production of this series. And I have so many questions about what is going on with the production of Noblesse. Having seen the OVA, I have to ask, what the hell happened between then and now? because the animation directors, the animation director and the character designer are both the same guy from both projects, Awakening and now, Akiharu Ishii, and it's the same studio, Production IG, so it's likely a lot of the same animators and a lot of the same team. What the hell happened? Like, why does Awakening look the way it does? Why does Awakening look so great when it was made 4 years ago, and it's a single OVA episode, versus the start of a series, and we're 2 episodes in. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand that when you're working on a single OVA episode, you have more time and focus poured into it. I get that. But, holy shit. Like the production dips. Like, the character designs look better in the OVA, the animation looks better in the OVA, the music's better in the OVA, and it's the same composer. Like, everything about the OVA is almost everything about the OVA is better. I'd actually argue that the characters are stronger in like the main show than they are in the OVA. But even then, M-21 is a really strong character in the OVA as well. So what the hell happened? Like, what happened production-wise? And don't even get me started on Crunchyroll's screw-up. Oh my god. Like, I said this last week, I don't understand why they did the thing they did. If you have an OVA that is critical to understanding how the show's gonna work, why would you not put it on the same show, like on the same watch page? Now, I've seen some people say, like, it's on the same page for me. Well, it ain't in Canada, and I assume it's probably not the same in the States. When you go to Crunchyroll, it just has Noblesse. It's just Noblesse, right? And the way I use Crunchyroll, and the way that I've asked friends of mine, they use this shit the same way. I've asked you guys. You said that on Twitter. You all said it's the same way. The way people, and I've seen this problem with people on Twitter, like I'm like just scrolling through the Noblesse tag. The way people use Crunchyroll is they go to the homepage, they scroll down to new anime, and they click on the most recent seasonal thing. That is how a lot of people use Crunchyroll when they're watching their seasonal anime. And since Noblesse is obviously a seasonal anime, why, when it released, would you not put a huge banner that says, hey, watch Awakening first, not just Noblesse, watch Noblesse. It's like, no. If you know it's important, put a big banner up, and then even if you do put a big banner up, put it on the same watch page so that when I click the episode, I go like, why? I feel like I'm missing something, and I click on Noblesse to go back to the show's main page, I would at least see that there's an OVA. And don't tell me you can't do that. I've seen you do that for movies and shit. Like, I've seen you do that for movie tie-ins. So don't tell me that you can't just put like a collapsible little section that just says Noblesse Awakening on the same page as Noblesse. Why are you trying to ruin this thing that you probably paid a lot of money to produce? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. And I know so many people who dropped episode 1. Like, who just dropped it because they were like confused and just didn't bother with the OVA. Why would you do that? I don't understand. I don't understand. Why does this look like one of those like reverse harem shows, like Rise My Heroes or Stand My Heroes, right? And I like Stand My Heroes, right? And I like a lot of those shows, like Evil or Evil X Love, or I can't remember what that show was. I like a lot of those shows, but I go into those knowing that the production is going to be rather low. But when I see Production IG produced by Crunchyroll, I have to ask, why does it look like one of those shows? I don't understand. Again, I think the character designs and the characters themselves are strong, and I do expect the story to pick up quite a bit. And some of the action's okay, but I don't know what the hell's going on with this production. Like, this is the strangest production I've seen in some time, especially coming from IG. You know what I mean? It's like, just like, what is going on? Happy birthday to me, am I right? Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. If you somehow managed to enjoy this, sorry for the rant. I am enjoying Noblesse, I promise. I do think it's gonna pick up, but if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to boop that up snoot, share if you care, leave a comment down below, and of course hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to let all of AniTube know you are here. And of course, as always, I have to give a big thank you to the good folks in the T Squadron. Look at these beautiful people. Look at all these beautiful names, and hey, if you would like to join these beautiful people, there are now 2 ways to do so. The first is by hitting that first link in the description to check out our Patreon page, and the second option for just a wee bit more is by hitting that join button right beside the sub button to get yourself a badge next to your name, some emotes to spam in the comments, as well as your name scrolling across this screen. So if that sounds cool to you, go ahead and hit that join button or check out the Patreon. Either way, it is super, super appreciated. So once again, a big thank you to the T Squadron. I am gonna go edit this video and then celebrate my birthday. And until next time, you stay classy, AniTube, and wash your dang hands.